on.
Okay.
I'm not gonna repeat that again.
Right.
Live.
Woo, we're
Okay.
live. Oakland Girl live. We're here, y'all. We're here. As you can see on the back of my TV screen, we are live and direct with our guest today, Jessica Morton. Wave hi, Jessica.
Hello.
We are so happy to be talking with Jessica today. And we know that she is coming with it, right? And she's going to tell her story. And I'm just really, I'm juice. I'm juice. I like to say I'm juice all the time. So my name is Shanita Perdomo, and I am the host of Oakland Girl Live. Your turn.
Oh, my name is Avia Thomas. I am the co-host.
Whoop, 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 whoop. And then what we like to do is we just like to break the ice.
Mhm.
We don't have our little song yet. We working on that. We working on a little
Okay.
intro song like what's up, baby, buddy. We working on that.
Okay.
So until then, we're going to play a game. So let me figure out how to share this. Okay, so we're going to play a game called oops. Okay, where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Okay, share screen. We are going to play the Oakland Girl Live Word Unscramble game. Okay, so all right, so we are going to, or y'all too, because I know the answers. Y'all going to unscramble some words based on prominent and maybe familiar Oakland places and landmarks. Okay, so we're gonna get
Okay.
into it. Here is the riddle. Born in the town in 66. Community programs in the mix. What movement started right here?
Black Panther.
Black
Oh my
Panther.
God, that was fast, girl. I'm trying to get my eyes together.
All right. Give Jessica a chance, Avia.
Okay, my bad.
Give her
Sorry.
a fighting chance.
Okay.
Okay. I flash movie titles in red and white. Across from the lake, I glow at night. What theater am I?
Ooh.
Grand Lake Theater.
Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
Oh my God, I gotta be quick on my feet with you, Avia.
All right, high above the town where the air feels thin.
Skyline.
Oh.
Move, there it is. There we have it. There we have it.
Okay.
All right, so
Okay.
that was our little game. Thank you for playing,
Right.
Avia and Jessica. Thank you.
She like murdered
I
the
love
board, real
I love trivia games. I love
I gotta come harder. I gotta come harder next time. Clearly, she eating it up. I gotta come real hard.
Right.
and I didn't know, Jessica, I didn't know the answer. She didn't talk to me
Yeah,
about
she
it.
didn't know.
So
Right. I'm like, and I got the little puzzle thing on my phone, be playing it all day, and my eyes got crisscrossed.
She didn't know.
you want my glasses? Look.
I'm finna get some soon.
All right, go ahead, Avia. Let's get started.
So I kind of want to, jump into a little bit about some of like your short-term goals for 2026. Like what do you have on the table? I would love to know that first, just to kind of get to know you too.
My short term goals for 2026 would
Yeah.
be to finish school,
Mm-hmm.
get to the last quarter of school,
Love.
and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I be so busy, like mom life and all that stuff. Just really, as long as my kids be good and they happy and laughing, I really other things don't really bother me,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't really think so far ahead when I see my kids happy or
Mm-hmm.
smile. I just like how the words say, enjoy that
Yeah,
moment.
you in a moment.
Right? I just
Mm-hmm.
be like, it's good today. Everybody happy. The boy brushed his teeth and put
Mm-hmm.
on deodorant, and yes, like. He finally just moving right, and so I just be happy in the moment at
That's
times. But
good.
short term goal would just to be to finish school.
Okay, that kind of leads me to my second question, which is sounds like you're content, like you're happy, like you just said. So sounds like peace. Because my next question is, what does peace look like to you right now?
Um, I really think for me, peace means surrender.
Mm, okay.
And so I have, the piece of being this, great mom, and just I have that mom piece as far as my kids being happy,
Mhm.
but spiritually, just
Mhm.
it's no peace. It's that conflicting thing with that I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
So peace for me, real peace would be to surrender.
Mm.
Mm. Okay. Um, when you like think about some of the things you have surrendered in your past, would you want to try and do that again if you were to kind of get to that piece or to that surrendering
Absolutely.
place?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things that I gave over
Mm-hmm.
to the Lord. And when I think back, I'm grateful. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know to get to that next step of peace, it's going to require me to that same surrenderance that I gave for those things that I let go and gave up.
Okay, so okay, um, I want to kind of take a step or two back, a big step or two back.
Okay.
So you were born, like you were raised in Acorn. I was reading a little bit about you. So you were raised in Acorn. You could tell people where Acorn is, uh, but also, what was young Jessica like before things shifted? Before the surrendering part and all this, like being a mother, where did all this started? Like, give us a
Oh
little.
my gosh. So I grew up in West Oakland in Acorn.
Mhm.
That's like right real close to downtown,
Yeah.
real close to the bridge, real
Mhm,
close to Berkeley. Like
mhm,
we was close to North Oakland. So
mhm.
I grew up in West Oakland. I was raised in Acorn. We lived off 10th and Filbert.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
know
grew
where
up
that is.
Yep.
in
I
off
see that.
10th and Filbert. And I can't I can't say that I was like too much of a happy kid. I
Mhm,
made the best of things.
mhm, mhm,
And so a lot of times me being happy as a kid, it's because I made the best of what it was.
mm.
And so yeah, it was just a lot of dysfunction, um turmoil, just a lot of stuff. So I went through um abuse and things like that. So it was just like, hmm, I'm trying to find the right words. Sorry.
No, take your
Good.
time. Okay, we
But
here.
yeah.
Um, so I think another thing you mentioned was like jumping off the porch at 12. Um,
Oh my God.
with without if you're comfortable, of course, um without giving up too much if you don't feel comfortable, what do you mean, or what was that like for you,
So
for-
because I had that, that tough upbringing, my mom was just she was herself,
Mhm,
and she was her true self always from the time I was a kid till now. It
mhm,
was just that she wasn't raised correctly. So she raised us the best she knew how,
mhm,
and a
mhm,
lot of that generational stuff, it trickled over into our life. And
mhm,
so I was just a wild kid.
mhm, mhm,
I started off very quiet and shy, but
mhm.
Oakland it has this great, qualities, but it has that dog in the city,
Right.
Yeah.
that bring it's like woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was just a wild kid,
Mhm,
from the time I was probably one. My
mhm,
mom, she needed, babysitter. She was by herself. My dad went to prison when she was 8 months pregnant with me for murder.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so she was on her own. She went from living this high profilic drug dealer wife kind of lifestyle, no bills, cars, shoes, money. And when my dad went to jail, she had to face the reality that she was a
Wow.
single mother.
Wow.
And she didn't take it well.
mhm,
She
mhm,
didn't take it well, and it led to a lot of abuse and things like that. So I was just really a wild child from the time we was smaller. My mom would just have these fits of rage, I personally believe my mom suffered from schizophrenia and
Mm,
was never treated
mhm, mhm,
because she would just have random outbursts, just
Mm,
random tear the house up, throw plates at the wall, put us out in the cold at like 2, 3 in the morning because she needed space, or
mm.
and we
Said
would be.
us and we siblings.
Yeah, I had two older siblings.
Okay.
mhm,
My oldest sister was 3.5 years older than me, and my brother was 2 years older than me. So I
Mm,
was the baby. And
mm,
so when we lived in West Oakland, that was just art. My mom was always gone. She wasn't a drinker. She
mhm,
really wasn't a partier, and she'd never done drugs. My mom never even
mm,
smoked a cigarette, but she
mm,
had men problems. So it
mhm,
was her addiction. So she brought a lot of things she didn't do, but she brought it into the home.
mm.
And so we experienced a lot of abuse physically, sexually, and things like that, just coming up from small kids. So when I became a teenager, we moved to East Oakland.
mm.
Once we went to East Oakland, I went to Havens Court. It was my first
Mhm.
time. It was my first time
Courthouse.
seeing like all these kids running around the neighborhood because we didn't go outside. We
Yeah.
couldn't. We had that freedom when we was really small because my mom would be gone. She'd leave.
Mhm,
She'll leave with her boyfriend, one of her boyfriends, and go to Vegas, and
mhm,
we'll be at home by ourselves for days. And so, you know, my mom just didn't. She didn't have that mom, the connection,
Right,
like that
right.
mother's intuition,
Yeah.
like that
Nurturing.
first love. My mom was very upset and bitter about my dad going to jail and
Mm,
mhm,
her being by herself, and she took that out on us.
mm,
mhm,
And so when I became a teenager and we started ripping and running, she got remarried. Of course, it was like my mom been married so many times, but she got remarried. And this man, she married this man when I was about 8. No, I was about 6, because she met him when I was 5, and that's who became my father. And
mm,
mhm,
so, but he had his own thing going on. He was just a really dark person, and so he was very strict. So when I
mm.
came to Havens Court, it was a lot of things I couldn't do. I don't know if you remember that night we all ran around, Shanita. We was playing dark tag. We was
We played dark
we
tag a
was
lot.
running all around East Oakland playing tag. We hopped on the bus, went to Tiana house, went to Monisha
Yes.
house, and we was
Yes.
running around
Yes.
all night. And I was having the time of
Yes.
my life.
Oh
I was
wow.
like, this is freedom.
I
Like,
remember that. Because I was
I
supposed
was
to stay on
like,
the bus
these
to go
kids is
home.
so cool. And y'all was older than me. So
Mm,
I was like, look, I'm just happy to be here. And so we was having the time of my life, and my mom pulled up. Oh
mm.
God. And with me and you was on top of the fence. We was climbing.
Wait a minute. I don't remember this story.
She pulled up in that Saturn. She had just got her new car. So you
Oh
could
yeah,
tell
I
how
remember
little
that Saturn. I do remember that Saturn.
she said, Jessica. And we look, I said, she was looking for me, baby. I had got the Melissas, the little high top Melissas, baby. We had our little lime green on.
Yep.
But
Ooh,
I had
I
some
was so
Melissa.
sheltered, and
Yeah.
yeah.
we could never go anywhere. And he came with 5 children,
Mm,
all under the age of 5.
Mm,
So I was responsible for all these kids now when I was the baby.
mhm,
And so I always had to be like that mom you roll. But the the darkness that was kind of like within this person that my mom married, it just was like as the years went on, it got worse and it got
mm,
worse and it got worse. It eventually turned into he would overwork my mom, like make her get this many jobs, this.
mm,
Now that I'm older, I knew it was a distraction to keep my mom distracted and tired. And so he went throughout the whole entire house, and we were all sexually abused,
mm.
mhm.
even his own children, his blood children. And
So
so,
I kind of want to interject that thank you for sharing first off from the
Mhm,
memories to just kind of what you've been through. I mean, the trauma, the transitions,
mm,
the trials and tribulations, the things that you went through. that's not like normal. So I commend you for
Right.
being vulnerable
Yeah.
and just sharing that and just trusting us to place it on this
Yeah.
platform so folks can listen
Yeah.
and hear you.
Yeah.
And, and and I love that hopefully that someone is out there listening and they
Yes.
see
Mhm.
you and see
I
them
was
in
just gonna
you.
say that.
It's
I
like
was
I
just gonna
prayed
say that.
prayed on that about that too, because I was thankful because I had been having this rough time spiritually with God and where I
Mhm,
stand and my
mhm,
identity and things.
mhm,
And so um the things I communicated with God, Shanita, you came in on time. And so I said, nobody has never asked me my story. I'm
mhm,
35.
Mhm.
Nobody.
Mm.
mhm.
Not my mom, not nobody.
Yeah. And Jessica, I remember a few years ago when I was unemployed. And at that time, I was posting a lot of stuff on Facebook, right? I just had a lot of time on my hands to just be in my word and get closer to
Mhm.
the Lord. And you reached out to me and you were like, man, this was good. Like what you said, oh my gosh, like I was praying this and this and that and that. And I remember just having this long conversation with you. We was on the phone for like 3-4 hours just talking, and you told me so much stuff about you. And just off the strength of what you just shared right now, I from a few years ago just respected you so much because you were able to tell me your story in a way that you were looking for God to heal you. You were believing God to heal you.
Mhm.
And even you sharing what you just shared is so important because the sexual abuse, right? Like sexuality in the act is supposed to be intimate. It's supposed to be between people
Sacred.
who love each other.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's supposed to be sacred, right? It's not supposed to
safe.
be something
Yeah,
you use as a weapon.
yeah,
Mhm.
And so much has happened in families, right? I'm not even going to talk about the Black family,
Right.
but just in families where this thing that's supposed to happen between closed doors, between people who love each other, is
yeah.
perverted, and it happens behind closed doors,
Mhm.
and it's weaponized. And it's happened to so many people that that if you're not careful, you begin to protect this painful secret,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and not in a way that two people who love each other are supposed to protect,
yeah.
Right.
right? Like what happens. So I just respect and commend you for
Yeah.
even saying it, because that is breaking so many chains, right?
Mhm.
Just from people who will watch this, who's watching now.
Yeah.
And like Tamar just said, thank you for even going there, because it's something that is just not talked about, but
Mhm.
yet it damages
Mhm.
Right.
people's lives. And it also causes, and I hear so much, like you have so much revelation from it, right?
Mhm.
Just the fact that you're talking about it and you were able to
Right.
see that was a distraction. He had my mama doing all of that as a distraction.
Mhm.
And I think that even in families today, because a lot of people in my family experienced it, right?
Mhm.
Like even in families today, that we don't go there and we don't talk about that stuff, and we don't understand that other things are distracting us.
Mhm.
We arguing about things that don't even matter
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
it's really a secret that
Right.
Mhm.
we are afraid to come out about. So anyway, I feel like there's so much to unpack there. I know Avia has other questions and stuff like that, but I just wanted to drop that there
Mhm.
just for the people listening
Yes.
to, go get therapy, like go
Right.
get prayer,
Right.
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
just wherever you need to go to get healthy help, go get healthy help.
Yes. Amen. I second that. I think you said that beautifully. You really hit the nail on the head with that. Just because, like you said, people protect something that was traumatic in a way
Yeah.
that then bleeds out in different ways in their lives, like
Yes.
who they choose as a partner and what kind of music they listen to, what kind of movies they watch, and just
How they raise their children.
how they raise their children, how they speak to themselves when you look in
Mhm.
the mirror, how they feel they deserve love
Mhm.
or not. And so
Mm,
I think
Mhm.
those type of chains do need to be broken. They do need to be
Mhm.
exposed. They need to be prayed over. And I would recommend a fast, but that's just me. Because I think
Right.
the goal is to expel all that. That's a lot of impurities. Like, and then
Mhm.
when you're at a young age, your innocence is taken. And so
Mhm.
just starting back
Mhm.
where that had happened and just rem- reminding yourself that you didn't do this to yourself and that
Mhm.
it isn't something that you consented to, right? And so
Mhm.
mhm.
just making sure you get your power back and you are able to say, I don't have to be a victim of this, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Even
Mhm.
if someone tried to silence you and again weaponize something that is supposed to be sacred and safe.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but
And me
And
having
and
to
like,
huh?
be the
oh,
me having to be like the mother figure to, because I had four younger sisters under me. My brother
oh,
left at 15. My sister was she was being gone, and it was just me left and my younger
mhm,
sisters. He had three daughters, and my mom had a daughter before they met. She had just had my little sister when they first got together. So
mhm,
I had to protect them. So a
Mm,
lot of that trauma, I took on that role to
yeah,
protect my
right,
sisters. And
right.
so as I got 12 and 13, around, I was still at Havens Court. I don't know if you remember, a lot of times I would always say, no, I can't, because if my dad come up here, my dad, remember he came in the gym on us one time too. And so I was just very scared of him. Like, y'all sure we gonna be back at this time?
yep.
Because if we
I do
skip this
remember that.
class, I was
I
just
do
so
remember that.
scared. And
Mm.
so,
And
um,
as a child, I didn't know, right?
right.
Like who knew to go, "You okay? Do you
Yeah,
need help?" Who
yeah.
knew? I think that I think no, well, not I think I remember about you, Jessica, having those like looking over your shoulder, but I just thought like, "Oh, you gonna get a whooping," you know.
Mm,
I was also looking over my shoulder.
I would be panicking. Like
Yeah,
when we
but like,
skipped class or did anything, it
yep,
was like,
yep. I remember that. I do remember that. I do
and it
remember
was
that.
so I took a lot of that on because I had to, protect my siblings. And so when I got about 12, 13, um, it was, I got to a point where I would prepare myself for him
Mm,
versus I would doll myself up or make
mm,
myself be more appealing to him, maybe because he will always say little things like, you way more of a woman than your mom, or
mm,
if I could not marry your mom, I would marry you, things like that. And
mm,
so it was uncomfortable, but I'm like,
yeah,
they younger than me, and so
yeah.
I
mhm,
just have to take on this role, because my mom, she was working so much, she had all these jobs, she couldn't,
mm.
I don't even, she just wasn't paying attention. And so I took on the role as a wife very early,
Wow.
Mm,
intimately, and things that I was introduced to. And when I felt him wanting to take that relationship further, I did not want to leave my siblings,
Wow.
but I said, this is something I don't want. And I was
Mm,
confused at first because I was like, is he? But I kept saying, no, that's my dad. That's my dad. Like, he would have
mm.
never, that's my dad. He's raised me.
Yeah.
And so when it got to a point I couldn't neglect or deny what was happening to me, I said I had to leave my siblings. So I
Yeah.
left them at 13 and I was off on my own.
That's when
And
you jumped off the porch.
yeah.
yeah, I was off on my own, and I was in Sacramento, and I jumped off the porch, met some people, um, and my life just changed so fast. It was
Mhm.
so quick like that when I left home.
Mm.
Like I left home, and literally it wasn't no later than a month. Um, I met some friends or whatever, and they was like, you know what we gonna do? They was all grown. These was all adults, and they let me stay with them, and I was like, okay, it's cool. Everybody, I get to smoke and drink and party and stuff like that. And one day we was in the living room, and the girl said, you know what we finna do? I said, everybody's like, what? Because they was talking about going to L.A. And she said, you want to go? And I said, yeah. She said, you know what we finna do? I said, what? She said, we finna put you on Craigslist. And I was like, okay, like I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm thinking, I thought Craigslist was a restaurant, girl. I was like, I did. I was like, we going out to eat, child. And so it just happened so fast. By the time I blinked, it was over with. And that was the fast life for me. The
Mm,
exchange for money from that time up until a little right before I called you those
mm.
years ago. I
So you
was
saying that you met these adults who, as a 13, 14, 15-year old, you saw them as extended
mm-mm,
family, new support system, and they pretty much took advantage of you because
Yeah.
at the time, for those who are not aware,
mm-hmm,
because it's probably people who don't even know what Craigslist is.
right.
Craigslist was pretty much like a uh, community whiteboard or community board online place where you could post if you want to sell something, if you want to barter, things like that. But
Mm-hmm,
sadly, people were using it to traffic people.
mm-hmm.
And so you're saying that they put you on Craigslist. At that time, you just said like you thought it was a restaurant, you didn't know. But I would just imagine like you probably didn't even know what questions to ask because you just trusted them.
No, I just went in and I was like, who is this? And they like, girl, we be back, and closed the door. And I froze. Even though this had been going on. I was not new to sexual abuse. I
Mm,
had been experienced that way before my mom met this man through family members. So from very small. So I wasn't new to it, but I just froze,
mm,
and it was what it was. And they like, you don't want to go home, do you? Like, your life ain't so great there, is it?
mm,
Like, you know what I mean? And so I just kind of like sucked it up and was like, well, no, I don't want to go home, and I have to do whatever I have to do to make sure I don't go back home.
mm,
And so I bounced around like that.
Can I ask, at one point, was there anybody, or if there was there anybody, or did you find maybe in your dream someone to pull you in a different direction, or was there somebody who began to help you go into a different direction after, not even after, during this?
No, I really dealt with it, a lot of it on my own.
Mm,
When my mom, they didn't really look for me much. But
mm,
then when people started asking questions, I think it was more like an embarrassment thing to my mom, where she like, okay, now we got to start looking for her because people starting to ask questions. So, um, yeah, no.
mm.
okay.
And what was when you were being looked for, did you want to get searched? Like, did you want to go back home? Did you start kind of going deeper, looking for somewhere else to go? Like, what
I
was that?
went very deeper. I think when the first time I ever ran away, it was like real minor, like petty stuff or whatever. I was upset about some things I ran off, and it wasn't nothing. I came back a day or two later. But when it got to that point, I I'm sorry, ask the question again. I lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was asking you when your mom started to search or whoever started to search.
Okay.
Did you want to be found or did you
No,
go
I
like,
got to a point where I was just like, no, I don't want to go home. I was
mm,
convinced that this lifestyle was a good lifestyle. It's going to take care of you. You're not going to have to ask anybody for anything. You're not
Mm,
going to have to share hand me down clothes no more. You can get your hair done whenever you want to. It was just like the wooing of over the eyes type of thing.
mm,
Like if you and so point by the time I was aware that my mom and them was looking for me or wanted me to come home or whatever the case. I just didn't want to be found. And they
mm.
found me once, and my mom was saying that she was sending me away to Utah. And I
Oh,
was trying to communicate with my mom like, well, before you send me to Utah, like I'm trying to tell you something,
mm,
but he just wouldn't let me. He would
mm,
stand over her. And then when the police got involved, he didn't leave the room. He stood
mm.
over me, like with his hand on my shoulder, like, kind of like, that
Yeah,
aggressive kind of
yeah,
threat, silent threat. And
yeah.
so I just was like, I can't. So I tried to accept that for the time being, and it just got worse.
Mm,
And it got so worse. To the point it was like very violent.
Yeah.
mm,
And so I was like, I can't be here. So I left again, and I just got more strategic at not getting caught.
When that
Because
happened,
my mom was looking for me in the sense that, okay, you're being unruly, you disrespectful, you just wow, you want to be out here sleeping with people. And he was in the panic looking for me in the fear that I would say something. And so his thing was of being exposed. My mom was just like, look, I work. I got 17 jobs. I
yeah.
got other kids. And she would tell me, I'm not finna keep looking for you.
Mm,
And when I seen she wasn't paying attention or just wouldn't listen,
yeah.
and he just had this hold over her. And
mm-hmm,
I just knew I could not tell my mom, but it got
mm,
to the point where I was like, I don't even want to go back because he would manipulate me and my mom. He would tell me things my mom said about me, and she said she hated me, and I had to tell her, don't say that about your own child, and things like that. And then he
mm,
would go and manipulate my mom and say she
mm.
boy crazy and she just want to do this. So at that point, me and my mom hated each other.
Wow.
We hated each other, and then we turned around and we clung to him. We would
Wow.
run to him
Yeah.
for things, but he was like the middleman, but it
Yeah.
was always that manipulation, things. My
Mm,
mom say, I don't know why she deciding. He like, well, maybe she just want to. And
yeah.
he would, send my mom to do these certain things while he take me out on dates and things like that. I remember my third grade year, before it got bad, my third grade year, he showed up to my school early with a dozen bouquet of roses. He had a dozen bouquet of roses, some flower, a card, a box of chocolate, and he bought me a brand new outfit. And he took me to San Francisco to this fancy place, and he took me on a date. It was
Your
uncomfortable.
stepfather.
Yeah. And so
Mm,
I was like, this was the day he was saying if I could marry anybody, it wouldn't be your mom, it would be you.
mm,
And so I just didn't want to be found. I didn't care. And then getting introduced into that lifestyle, at that point, I just felt like it's already over. Like
yeah.
it's already over. You didn't already. This is just what it is.
Yeah.
Keep living.
Right.
At any point, did you like go and have a conversation with your siblings to be like, look, so and so has done this to me, or he's said this to me, or said that to me? Because it sounds like he used,
Mm,
your
no,
mom.
we never talked about it.
Mm,
My
So
siblings
they'll find
never
out right now.
came. Huh?
They'll find out right now. Is that what?
Yeah. Well, we talked, and when we got all adults, it
Okay.
came out.
Okay.
Because when I didn't want to be found, and I finally decided that I was going to come out and say something to, my mom about it.
Hmm.
One of my cousins, she ran into me and she was like, we've been looking all over for you and da 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 da. And so we was sitting in the car, and I just was like, I, I just told myself, give my mom the opportunity.
mm,
I said, Jessica, you're not even giving her an opportunity. I was really talking to myself, like, you're not giving her the opportunity. You can't say what she won't do. I know your fears have you feeling that way, but you haven't given her an opportunity to protect you. I just felt like she wouldn't, based on our life. You never home. A
Mm,
man always come first. A week always
Yeah.
come last.
Yeah.
And so regardless if, I know my mom was hustling. She was had to pay bills. She was a single mom and stuff like that. But I just didn't trust her based
Right.
off of her actions and how she's always been. I didn't trust her with that information. So when I finally did decide to trust her with that information, it felt like it got real quiet. Like
mm,
it was so quiet. Like
Quiet
the
how? Like
entire
quiet.
family,
Quiet how?
nobody said anything. It
mm,
was silent for, I want to say, at least 2 or 3 hours.
Oh.
mm,
And my mom would get on the phone. She was talking to somebody. I was just sitting there, and she was like, well, we finna ride over there. And I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know where we was going, nothing or anything.
Mhm.
And went to my dad's mom house and my grandmother, and everybody was meeting up over there, and they got there, and it was just quiet. It was silence.
mm.
Nobody said. I was looking for my mom to say, I'm sorry or
Yeah, I was gonna
something. Or
say, like, who did someone come to you and acknowledge and hold you and
Yeah.
hug you?
Yeah.
no. It was like I said, everybody was really quiet. Nobody hugged me. Nobody said this gonna be okay. Um, well, what happened? Where I felt like my mom put me to the side and kind of started questioning me. But the way she was questioning me, it felt like I was in a courtroom.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, do you think the 2 hour, 3 hour standstill was it them processing, or was it because they didn't believe you, or they just wanted more
I felt
information?
like they was processing
Mm,
and trying to, because it's like, well, how do we know if it's not her just wanting to run away, or you know what I mean? So I was trying to give them that time. And so
okay,
I was allowing them to process whatever, however, because I was just like, whatever.
right.
I said what is I because I didn't get that compassion. My
Yeah.
mind went blank. I was like, okay, it's over with. What we finna do now?
Do you think that once you didn't get that empathy or that hug or just that validation of being seen and told, like, okay, I know, you not the type of person to lie about something like this, was that something that, like, catapulted you to leave and not come back? Or, like, how did your
Yeah.
relationship with your siblings change and your mom change? Because I you
It
can
was all
but
stripped.
why
I
did it
felt like
change?
at that moment, I was stripped of all of that. It was just taken from me, my relationship with my siblings. Because as everybody is processing, my biological father, walks through the door. I have
Mm,
not seen this man since he got out of prison. Every time I hear from him, he say he coming, but he don't. I wait and wait and wait for this man, and he comes walking in the door, and
mhm,
I'm kind of confused as to why he there. And I see my mom carrying like these buckets with my things in it, and she
mhm,
loads it in the back of his car, and they put me in the back seat, and off to Turlock we went.
mm.
Mm. So rather than them actually asking you if you were okay, this is our plan of action. It was send away the victim.
Yeah.
And I talked to my mom, like, what is going on? She's like, you're going to go to your dad. From what my mom told me, you're going to go stay with your dad, and we're about to handle this whole problem. Because
Mm,
from the look on my dad looked very upset. Because my dad kept asking my mom. I just remember him saying, where does he work at? He kept saying my mom's name. Where does he work? Where does he work? And my mom was like, well, he work up here, he get off. She was just real timid, quiet, like not really, oh, I don't know. She does that a lot when she don't want to answer, or she does an exhale like that. And so she kept doing that.
Mm,
And so we got to Turlock. I'm thinking they're handling the situation. My mom's telling me I'm gonna be back home soon, and things like that. So I felt a sense of relief. I was confused leaving, but once I got there and I talked with my mom on the phone, I was like, okay, they just finna. I'm like, oh, maybe they about to beat him up, like I was juiced too,
that's
because
what
I
I'm
was like, oh,
thinking.
my dad
Yeah.
about to get him a new one, child.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, but days just started going by. I was not hearing from my mom. I was not
Mm,
hearing from my siblings. My dad and his wife, they worked at a cheese factory. They didn't have their own place. She had three daughters. They didn't have their own place. They were living in somebody's garage. They were
mm,
renting out somebody's garage that had a bathroom in it, like a bathroom with the shower and like a little small kitchen in there.
mhm, mhm,
And the garage door is still, it lifted up like a normal garage door. I left, Oakland to Turlock, and I was living in the garage with my dad and his wife and her three daughters. And so I'm just like, the days going by, they so busy work out. Nobody stopped to put me back in school. I kept telling myself maybe this a new start for me. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to school. I'm like, who gonna put me in school? Who gonna put me in school? And it was like everybody was lagging. He was like, well, your mom ain't send me the birth certificate and all this other stuff. And it was just a lot. And so I sat and I thought and pondered on it. And I said, I'm gonna call my mom. So
mm,
that following morning, I called. I didn't know. I called the house phone because in my mind, they beat him up and arrested him. So he
mm,
should not be home.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so when I called the phone, my brother answered the phone. And I said, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, how's everybody?" I was so excited to hear from my brother. And he was like, "I'm good." He was like, "We miss you." And they hadn't told my siblings anything. My siblings just thought, okay, she ran away, blah, blah, blah. She's at dad's house. She's doing better. She's finna get in school. Nothing about anything. They never asked, have anybody ever been touched? Nothing. It was just a complete secret. And so I said,
Why do
where's
you think
mom?
that is? Like in retrospect,
I
you
think
know.
because of, for me, I always thought it was embarrassment or shame from my mom
Okay,
because
yeah,
of what I was doing.
yeah,
And you know what I mean? And then now this came out. Like
right.
everybody's calling. Well, I saw your daughter doing this. They saying your daughter
So
out there.
it wasn't like the chicken before the egg, right? Like which
Right.
one come first? It was it was your current behavior, or whatever you got into was then um sorry, my son is right here. It was like your current behavior was the reason that you're like making this story up.
Mm-hmm.
Not, oh wow, maybe if this wouldn't have happened to her,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
she wouldn't have fallen into this pattern. And just going deeper, I feel like there's just another conversation to be had about that, because a lot of family members blame other family members for their addictions
Yeah,
or for certain behaviors that they have and that they do, and that they don't look deeper and actually ask hard questions. Well, what caused that?
yeah.
Or that makes me question this or that.
Mhm.
And I think that when that happens, families, right, which is supposed to be this safe place, this home that you go to, you get food, you get support, you have fun, you laugh and all this stuff, it begins to break apart those dynamics, to where now it's like, okay, I can't look at my parents to protect me. So
Right.
now I have to run away.
Right.
Oh, I can't look at my siblings, to be able to share things and for them to know. So now they don't know, right?
Yeah.
And like
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through this stuff. I feel like everything that you're saying and that you shared happened so many times and for different
Mm-hmm.
reasons, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's the same. It's like starting from the top, the parents are not taking responsibility. And now you got to figure out which parent is a safe parent, or neither parent is a safe parent. And
Mm-hmm.
then it trickles down to the siblings, to where one sibling feels like they have to protect and other siblings just don't care. And then there's a sibling who just don't know what's going on. Like,
My brother was clueless. Like he was like,
yeah,
"Man, what you mean?
it
What's going on? Why
happens.
you
Like,
crying?" I was
yeah,
like, "No." So I asked him, I said, "Where's mom?" And he says, "Oh, she's in the back with Gina and Gary." Because his godparents stayed in the house behind us. Because we stayed off Best Ave, which is right there on the bottom of the hill, 55th and Foothill.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed up there, and so he said she's in the back with Gary and and them and Dad. In my head, I said, because this was my father. He
Right,
raised me. My father was in
right,
prison, and when he
right.
got out of prison, he didn't think too much about us. He went on, got married, lived his life. That was
Mm,
the first time I seen my dad since he got out of prison when I was like 6 or 7. And
mm,
so that I'm like, I don't even know this man.
yeah,
You sent
yeah,
me to live with him.
yeah.
But I was just shattered because I was like, you said that I'm here because we getting this we correcting some things, and you wasn't. You shipped me out because you wanted it to just go away, and she
Mm,
was avoiding my dad because she didn't want my dad to know she was at the house with him,
Yep.
and things like this. And so coming to find out years later, she did ask him, like once we talked, I talked with my siblings as adults, she did ask him, like, did you do anything to my daughter? And from what my sister said, he just cried and cried. He was on his
mm,
knees. He had snot coming out his nose. And he was like, I swear, I promise, I this and this and that. And
so he lied.
he
Right.
lied. And my
Mm,
mom made the decision there, okay, she's trouble. We're gonna leave her there.
Well,
mm,
that's the unfortunate thing. And I like how Shanita was saying, like it's this is such a copy and paste unfortunate situation in a black family where the parents are supposed to be these protectors of the household of their children, even if and when stepfathers or mothers come in, they're
Hmm.
not as present. It's like they kind of forget, and
mm,
they're not as protective, and if anything, they forget about the children. They forget about their wellness and just their presence and what's really going on with them. And
Hmm.
then when the abuse happens or if it goes on, it gets swept under the rug. Like the siblings aren't aware, they don't care, or it happened to them too, and they need to be quiet about it because who can they go to? The
mm,
counselor at school, maybe not. The therapists don't know what to ask them, and then their friends don't know because you're just trying to keep an image, and also in a way it's a protective mechanism to not talk about it so much and bring it up. You're just trying to have
Hmm.
fun and get out of that darkness, but then
Hmm.
that darkness isn't really exposed until years later. But the victim still is you, right? During all
mm.
that trauma, because you had to live through that silently. You had to go and run through different like obstacles to try and find
Hmm.
freedom and safety in different people and be abused, during all that, because you really just looking for love and family, and
Right.
people can smell that off of somebody who
Hmm.
is vulnerable, naive, and just ready to be a part of something that feels safe,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, and it's unfortunate that it didn't come from your family. And then it's really unfortunate that years later it got swept under the rug and no one wants to, like you said, no one asked me my story. Like no one
Mm,
checked in on me. No one's, trying to see where I am mentally,
yeah.
psychologically, emotionally, and physically. And just being where I'm at now as a mother with 4 children. And, I'm still trying to get it out the mud. And it's like,
Right.
that that's such a hard pill to swallow, and I
Hmm.
commend you for just again bringing this back up, all this, because some of this
Yeah.
stuff you might not have thought about in a while or talked to somebody about in a
Right.
while.
Yeah.
So, this is pretty heavy, and so that's why I'm like, it's unfortunate, but I'm thankful that you are here on our podcast talking about it, because this
Yeah.
might give someone else encouragement or someone
Yeah.
else strength or
Mm.
someone else visibility to say,
Yeah.
okay, I need to say something or speak
Yeah.
up, you
Because
know?
I
I
was a
had,
black sheep for a long time. I was
yeah.
deemed just crazy, out of control.
Mm,
My mom would put these labels on me to other family members to hide
Right,
her
to hide from the
shame and
truth.
things like, oh, she been out there on them streets and on that stuff. And, just her mind is just, and so when I was screaming all these accusations at them, because he still stayed around for years.
Yeah.
After
Mm,
for years, he stayed around. I got pregnant at 14. So and
Mm,
he was still around.
yeah.
And so it was just a ongoing cycle that I had to it took me a long time to break just from that
I'm
attachment
happy you said that.
because they kept bringing them around. Then I got back confused because now I'm pregnant as a teenager. I'm confused again because he coming around, because I'm like, I know that's my little brother dad and all that, but why he got to come over here, and stuff like
mm,
that. And they was working on getting back together, because I ruined their marriage. I just
Mm,
turned it all upside down. And so they were working on getting back together, but she was just in fear of me, and so, or my reaction, and then other
yeah.
people. Sometimes she would cause fights for me to leave or kick
Mm.
me out,
Distraction.
or she would
Mm-hmm.
spread a rumor, and then it'll
Mm-hmm.
get back to me, and I'll be like, why is they saying you said? And she go, I don't know why they saying I said, like, and
Mm.
I'm just like, girl, stop talking about me.
Not girl. Well, I going back to the what you shared earlier about your stepdad making your mom work all these jobs and going back and forth between you and saying things to manipulate the other person. You know, it's like to for I wonder for your mom if she felt like, well, this is the only piece of relationship or like who else is going to want me,
And
so
that's
i'm
what I felt
I'm
a
willing to
lot.
sacrifice even
yeah.
the safety, the reputation, the protection, the presence, right, of
Hmm.
my daughter to protect
Hmm.
something that, and I'm like, I don't know your mom, so I'm just like putting words out there, but to protect something that I'm probably not going to have, or like this the best I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And it's very much like, I don't know if y'all saw Precious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But
Mm,
when the social worker came and was like, "So where were you when this was happening? And
And
what
she
did you
said, who
say?"
gonna love me, child?
Yeah, and who gonna love me? And who gonna make me feel good? And who gonna do this for me? And who gonna do this for me?
Mhm.
So it's a very selfish
He
thing.
had a strong, strong soul tie over my mom.
Mm,
mm,
Not only was it mentally, he had a strong sexual soul tie with my mom. The
mm,
things we witnessed as kids through them,
yeah.
just undespicable. That he had a way of torturing us as children. And
Mm,
when I began to buck at him, he would do things to torture me, like, or I had to always prepare him hot towels and things like that. He would have, like, sessions where he pleased himself, and I
mm-mm.
had to stand there until he was finished and give him his towels and things like that.
Wow.
And so he had a strong, just set soul tie with my mom, intimately, mentally.
Mm,
Just it was so deep that it was nothing you could really say to my mom.
mm,
And so I got that revelation that she felt the way you was describing, because plenty of times my mom would come home and we would be in bed with him and everybody didn't have clothes on,
mm. And nobody
and
said
she
nothing.
would get
Nobody.
upset with me or say I keep wanting to sleep in her bed, and I'm like, girl, I don't want to sleep in there.
Wow.
I'm not just violating your space. She come
Yeah.
out every time I come out, you in my bed, da, 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 da. And he would lie and say, I don't know why. Why every time I turn around, she coming in here, they coming in here getting in the bed. I don't know why.
Mm,
They better know I don't be sleeping with no clothes on, and I'll be sleep, type of
mm.
stuff. So
it also seems like she just wanted someone to blame instead of
mhm.
kicking him out in a way. I think some women just want a body around, like a man body. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what demons they bring into the household or into the children. They just want a man to
Yeah.
have
They just
this.
don't want to be by themselves.
And
Mhm.
so, right,
Yeah.
and you then get the brunt of that because of their, perverted and pedophile behaviors, and the
Yeah.
mother is usually blaming the children for their behaviors being done to them when, again, you can't consent, you're a child. And so, it again, it goes back to safety, and then just a mother who is more invested into her romantic love than her maternal obligations, right? But
Yeah.
it also just sounds, like no one was there to save you or protect you, and I'm sorry. Like, I am so
Yeah,
sorry.
I
But,
I I wanted to say the same thing, like, I'm
and
sorry.
yeah, and I also wanted to ask you if you could say, something to the 12-year-old Jessica, today, like, what would that be?
I think I would say to my 12-year-old self that in the end, this will be worth it.
Mm,
I would definitely tell myself that. But I would tell myself that this what in the end, this is all gonna be worth it
mm,
because it was.
mm,
Even though I having my little space with God, but it was because it made me the woman that I am. My kids are so open with me.
mm,
When I say they're open with me, even though, because I went down a path where I was just showing traits of my mom and picking up those curses and giving them to my kids, especially with my temper, my mouth, just parenting. Because I was a young mom. I had my first daughter at 15. So
yeah,
um, I definitely would tell myself that this was going to be worth it because
mm,
it did. I got the greatest thing from that was my kids.
mm,
Even the failed marriage don't matter anymore.
mhm,
The just being a single parent right now it doesn't matter or anything. When I think of all that stuff, it's so funny because every year on their birthday I can't come out of my room for like 2 hours because I go through all their pictures and I just cry. Like I'll
mm,
be like, we came a long way, we was
yeah,
thugging, y'all.
yeah, yeah,
Like we came a long way. And even though my faith been low, I still crave God.
mm,
And I
Good.
know it's this is gonna pass and these
Yeah.
things gonna break. And I'll just speak it. I followed that scripture. You could fall, a just man falls 7 times and
yeah,
but
and
what
get back
you
up.
don't get back up or
Mhm,
whatever. And so I just tell myself when I fall to pick myself back up. Don't
mm,
stay into it too long. But I
Yes.
got the greatest reward within my kids because
mm,
my kids trust me.
yeah,
When I
I
say
want
they trust me, they trust me.
I want to ask this last question. And I know you also mentioned how the Oakland Girl book inspired you, and I just kind of want to know, like, what resonated with you, and in what ways did it inspire you?
It inspired me because, like I said, I felt heard.
Hmm.
I felt heard. I felt seen, and knowing how we all grew up with each other, and
mm,
we all just had these different lives and avenues, and we went different places and things, and so I felt heard. Oh, I cried the whole entire book. Cried. I was like my friend, an author. I felt heard and seen. Even the parts about your mom, it was so many things I saw in myself.
mm,
As far as like addiction, like I would smoke bad, like
mm,
all type of drinking, just partying, all this stuff. And how you would say how she would, be in her room or close the door. I went through many seasons of that with my
mm,
kids,
mm,
and it was nothing but God that brought me out of those seasons. And I thank God every day because I would go through what I went through a million times to
mm.
get the result that I have with my children versus what I had.
Wow.
I can't come home from work and just get right in my bed because when I come home from work, they have to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, come on, y'all, let me take a nap. They like, girl, no, scoot over. We all finna get up in this bed. We need to tell you about our day, girl. They just so open with me. They tell me every
Mm,
last little thing. When I say they talk, they
yeah.
talk for
And that sounds
hours.
like, Jessica, that sounds like you created such a safe
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And even though you didn't have that, everything you said about telling your 12-year-old self it's all going to be worth it. I think that you're living that. And, we asked you the question, or Avia asked you the question earlier, like, what what was it? What brings you peace, or what are you proud of? And you just say, like, my kid's happy. And that to me, like, I'm confident that your children are going to be able to have healthier relationships. They're going to be able to call out BS when they see it. They're going
Yeah.
to be able to go, no, this is not love, this is abuse. And so you are in by yourself, right? A single mom working a job, going to school, taking care of your kids. And while you do that, while making yourself available for them to come and talk to you, you're breaking that generational curse. You're breaking that generational
Yeah.
pattern that now they will not be susceptible to the abuses that you suffered.
Mhm.
And I want to even cry saying
Mhm.
this. I can't even get it out. Um, but that is like the stuff that makes, and it sounds cheesy, but like it's gonna make the world a better place, pretty
Right.
much. It's gonna
Yeah.
make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And it's so unfair to me, right? That, or unfair to you or whoever else, that when you go through things, it has to be pain that leads to a joy you gotta fight for.
Right.
Like, but it's such an example. And I heard you say, like, your faith is low, and but you still pray to God and you want to be in that place of surrender. When I think about everything that Jesus suffered for us,
Mm-hmm.
right? He suffered. And when the scripture says that he wears, by his stripes we are healed,
Yeah.
right? Like, every hit, everything that he went through had us in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the abuse that he suffered, he had us in mind. And he had to go through that journey and that suffering to get to the cross, right? He got to the cross. The grave couldn't hold him. He died, but he rose.
Mm-hmm.
And so nothing that you have gone through is in vain. And so when you said, hey, it's going to be worth it, it reminds me of what Jesus did, right? Because he's like, it's going to be worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it's not just for me,
Right.
Mhm.
it's for the people coming after me, it's for my children, it's for my siblings,
Mhm.
probably even for your mother, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
everybody is going to look something, and I'm not saying they will, they probably already doing it, but pride prevents them for being, wow, Jessica, look, I know what I did to you, I know
Mhm.
what I didn't do for you, but look
Yeah.
at you now. And I want to, because I know we got to wrap it up, but I want to say this is that it don't matter where your faith is, because it's not about what we can conjure up and give to God. It's about receiving from Him.
Mm-hmm.
It's about receiving everything that He died for us to have. And one word that somebody broke it down to me, and I never look at this word the same, is beloved. And it's a verb, and it's a command. Be loved.
Mhm.
Just be loved. That's
Mhm.
all you got to do. You don't have to try to
Perform.
perform and be this person. And it's like that saying that goes, you can't take a bath before you take a shower. Like, you gotta just go with your dirty self and get in the
Right.
water. You can't clean yourself up before you go get cleaned. You just gotta go in, and wherever you are right now with the Lord, He will put you back in the same place that you were when you left, and
Right.
even higher.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have to go through this, oh God, how am I gonna perform to get back to that place? No,
Mm-hmm.
he misses you, he's
Yeah.
waiting for you.
Yes.
And the things that people do to us or have done to us, whether it's family hurt, whether it's job hurt, whether it's friend hurt, whether it's romantic hurt, whether it's church hurt,
Mhm.
whether it's self hurt, right? Because we say things to ourselves that keep us from whatever.
Right.
Yes.
you know God is waiting,
Mhm.
and He's patient,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to show you a love like no other. And
Man.
also, and I'll just say this, Avia, and then you can jump in. Also, we can't compare his love to anybody else's love.
Right.
So if you comparing his love to, oh well, it should look like this, or why did this happen? That, you know, because if you didn't, well, I'll say this, I'm not gonna make the assumption, but I don't, in the book I talk about my stepfather. I love my stepfather, but the way that he was with me, right? It caused me to think that God was distant. It caused me to think that God was cold. It caused me to think that God would hurt my feelings. That
Mm-hmm.
always tell me no. And so I brought that same attitude to the cross. God,
Hmm.
you you distant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even gonna ask you because you're gonna say no.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, like all that stuff. And that's not how Jesus is with us. And
Mm-hmm.
when I got to the point where I had to go, you know what people done to me, I had a lot of church hurt,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of family hurt, you know. I had to get to the point of, this is not God. You just broken. You just a broken vessel.
Right.
You're a broken vessel, and I'm not gonna make you responsible, right? Hurt people hurt people,
Right.
and people can't give what they don't have. So when we stop putting expectations on people that should just be on God,
Yeah.
then we'll just be out here being loved.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just learned that too, that I didn't have no expectations of God.
Mm,
Just recently, like the past 2 weeks,
that's
I
good.
had no expectations of him because I did not, it was still don't, feel worthy
Mm,
of, I feel so just sometimes like I fell off, or I haven't, communicated, or I haven't talked to you, or I haven't done this, I haven't done that I'm not worthy enough to ask you for help.
mm,
So sometimes I try to maneuver on my own, instead of just asking or releasing it to
mhm,
him. I try to maneuver on my own. But, he even explained to me during prayer that I've been just really trying to sit down and just have a normal conversation with him.
mm,
I had to be honest with him and say, God, looking back at my life, I'm I don't know how to come to you with certain things, or I don't trust you with certain things because I don't know what it's like to have a father.
Yep.
I don't know how to treat you like my father. They keep telling me that you my daddy and you my
mhm,
father, but I didn't never had that. So how
mhm,
do I know? I don't know how to treat you. So when you could try to correct me or you try to steer me the wrong way, I buck and I kick because I've always like, you can't tell me what to do.
mm,
I'm marrying this man tomorrow. Like,
mm,
just doing what I want to do. And so I'm in that place where I'm telling myself, okay, I don't want to fight with you no more.
mm,
Teach me, please,
Yeah.
to be
That's
his daughter because I didn't have a mammy either. So I'm like, I know
yep,
you ain't expecting me to be
girl,
saying
like
yes, sir,
you
no,
talking
sir.
to the church. You
yeah.
talking to
I'm
me
like,
too.
so help me, please, because
Yeah,
now I've had that revelation. God, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
And I know it's me now because I don't know what it's like to have a father. So I
yeah,
can be honest with you and say, I treat you badly.
yeah.
I'm
And,
gonna say this last little part because we do gotta
and I want to say a scripture too. So
um I'll make it quick. I just want to say thank you again for being
Oh,
on
thank
and
you.
just sharing your story and being as transparent and as vulnerable and as frank as you can or felt as you should be. And I take away a lot of what you said as well, especially with the relationship with God. And I would say that being you're getting back in his good grace or his love.
Mm.
I wouldn't what I wouldn't do is humanize him because God is not like our heavenly father. And I think that's kind of what we would do as a default, especially if we didn't have a father and didn't have a great father figure. If we did have a physical one, he just wasn't there. And I think that God is calling you, into his bosom and into his presence and into his love. And he always has. And I
snatching you
yes,
back.
yes. And I think that that's beautiful that you want to surrender it to him, and you're not trying to find a plan A and a plan B and a plan C because he understands that this was your upbringing. He understands you didn't have a safe environment. He understands that you had to fend for yourself. He understands that there were people who were supposed to protect you that didn't. And he understands that this won't be, a easy journey, but it will be a journey. He doesn't mind walking with you, and until the end, as long as you're open and you receive him and you say, okay, God, I'm bringing it to your altar, to your feet. He's going to meet you like the prodigal son. He's gonna meet you. Kings got off the
Right.
throne, and kings wasn't supposed to get off thrones and do all that, and he
Right.
went to his son. So God is gonna run to you too, and you guys are gonna meet where he's gonna meet you where you are, and you're gonna feel his presence. And even
Amen.
as I listened to your story, I felt his presence. He had
Yeah.
his hand over
Yeah.
you. So it's
Yeah.
it's not gonna take long until
Mm-mm.
you say, okay, God, like I trust you. He's gonna give you reasons why, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna feel great. He's gonna bless you, with the healthy relationship, and bless you with that relationship that you might still want out of a father. Who knows? I'm not sure, but that's gonna happen between you and God and what you pray
Yeah.
for when you get to him.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm gonna
just
leave
want
it
to
at
take the
that.
limits off of him this year.
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
want to put him in the box no more.
Don't do that, no, because
Yeah.
God is so limitless. He is so limitless. You'll be
Yeah.
so amazed. He'll blow your socks off, wig, bag, eyelashes off, everything, So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He's
In
gonna
Romans
do it for you. He's gonna do it for you.
in Romans 8, starting in verse 15 or verse 14, excuse me. It says, "For as many are led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God." And I like putting my name in the scripture. And when
Okay.
I was asking the Lord, help me to know that you love me more than my mother, more than my father, more than my sister, more than my brother, more than my goosey goosey granny. Like, let me know. And so I would start putting my name, and it says, "For Jessica, for as many, for as Jessica is
Mm-hmm.
led by the Spirit of God,
Mm-hmm.
Jessica is the son slash daughter of God. For Jessica did not receive the spirit of bondage or slavery again to fear, but Jessica received the spirit of adoption, by whom Jessica cries out, Abba, Father. The Spirit Himself bears witness with Jessica's spirit that she is a child of God, and if child, then an heir, heir of God and joint heirs with Christ. If indeed Jessica suffered with Him, that Jessica may also be glorified with Him.
Amen.
And so everything that you went through, right, that we all went through,
Yeah.
God has made it for a good purpose,
Hmm.
and that
Yeah.
there's nothing about our life, right? Like He doesn't want us to be a slave to fear. He doesn't want us to be a slave to fear of what happened to us in the past, what may happen in the future, because we are His children and He has accepted us and we're worthy, right? You are a co-heir. The way that God sees you,
Mhm.
we see you with a beanie on. God see you with a crown on your head. Like
Amen.
He sees you as a daughter, as a princess. He sees you as His very own. And yeah, so we'll just be praying for you. You already know
Yeah,
we
thank
connect and stuff like
you.
that. But we gonna end it on that note because this was so good. I want to talk forever and ever, but this was really good. This was really good.
Yeah.
And I think for me, and Avia mentioned it, like it's just a matter of time. And that makes me really excited. Yeah, that makes me really excited because at the end of the day, no matter what happened to us in Oakland, right? No matter Oakland had its good and it had its bad, and we talked about the childhood and just getting a like a quick little breather. Like, let
Mhm.
me just get a little childhood, and
Right.
let me have a little fun.
Mhm.
God still has a purpose, and no matter what happened and what was going down, we just gonna bring glory to
Yeah.
God.
I
So
know.
thank y'all for
Yes.
watching. Thank you so much,
Thank you guys for
Jessica.
having me and
Yes,
hearing
Thank you
my
for coming.
story.
yes.
I'm an Oakland girl.
Yes,
Thank
you
Hey.
are.
you. I tell
Whoop,
everybody
whoop.
out here in Ohio, I'll be like, I'm from the town and do not
Yeah.
do
And I'm
that.
telling you, and it comes with respect. Like people just be like, oh, like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
That's all
true.
I'm gonna say. But
No, I
you
can't do you no favors. I know I'm a celebrity. We
know.
celebrities. We know. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, tune in next week. We're gonna meet with I forget, but tune in next week.
I believe.
Alrighty,
Somebody, I
ladies.
forgot, but
Talking
we
about
go see them. We go see them next Tuesday. And if you are an Oaklander and you would like to share your powerful story through this podcast, email us at Oakland Girl Live, LIVE, at gmail.com, and we will respond and get you on a list. But as you can see, and I keep saying, it keeps getting better and better and better and better. So we appreciate y'all for watching. And Jessica, you don't have to jump off when I end the button, just letting you know right now. But we appreciate y'all for watching and have